range in age from teenagers to adults. While their injuries were severe, they are apparently not life-threatening. The cause of the explosion is still not known. June 30th is Arch 630 Day. 630 feet is how tall the monument is. Park Ranger Pam Sanfilippo tells Fox 2 it may be wise to pre-purchase tickets online if you want to ride the tram today.
But if they can't make it down today, they can still participate in Arch 630 Day by going to Gateway Arch STL on social media and choosing something that they think represents them, or maybe a pet or their house. How many of those would it take to get to 630 feet?
The weather is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, and Electrical.
Warmer and very humid this afternoon and evening with a couple of showers and thunderstorms. Watch for damaging winds, hail, and flooding downpours. High 92 with limited sun. I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Heather Zayer for 104.1 FM KMOX.
Right now, it is partly cloudy and 85 degrees in downtown St. Louis. It's 12:03. I'm Debbie Monterey, KMOX News.
In the 70s, baseball player Jerry Kelly decided to do something different.
Thanks for calling Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
This year, the company Jerry started decided we'd do something different.
Thanks for calling Jerry Kelly Heating, Air, and Electrical.
And electrical.
JerryKelly.com. This is the Gashouse Gang on 104.1 FM KMOX. Sponsored by Saliga Heating and Cooling, a Daikin comfort dealer. And by Anderson Hospital, a Newsweek World's Best Hospital. Now, the Gashouse Gang on KMOX.
Well, look who's in the National League Central race. Not only the National League Central, but the National League race, period. The St. Louis Cardinals are 2.5 games out, entering a 3-game series in Pittsburgh. We'll talk some Pirates a little later. John Parado, a writer there in the Pittsburgh area, will be covering not only what the Pirates are up to. They hammered the Mets yesterday, 12-1, but also we'll remember the great Dave Parker, the Cobra, later on the show as we kick off this series with the Pirates. With Kevin Wheeler, I'm Tom Ackerman. What's up, Wheels?
I don't know. No, actually, I do. I do know. It's a good time to talk ball. I mean, like this is a hot streak, right? 11 of the last 15. A nice sweep in Cleveland, which was, it's not like, we're not cutting up paper here for a parade yet, but you did what you have to do against a team that's been struggling to score runs. You shut them down and you scored runs. So, you're 2.5 games out of the division. You're in a wild card spot, and you're 4 weeks from the trade deadline. So it's getting good.
I love this stuff. As well as I do, I get teased for being the optimist, Mr. Positive. Tom, you talk too much about this team's going nowhere. Well, I was the one who actually backed off and said, you know what? I'm dropping all expectations. I'm just going to have some fun with this development. And lo and behold, here we are. The Cardinals are 2.5 out with the Cubs looming at Wrigley this weekend. The Cubs have their own problems. They're trying to figure it out. Bernie Mickels will be joining us here shortly, by the way. He is on the show today, as well as the voice of the Cardinals, John Rooney. But what a great weekend. I mean, that's the response. You lose to the Cubs, back-to-back shutout losses in that miserable heat. You go to Cleveland and you drop the hammer, starting with Sonny Gray. He was fabulous.
Sonny Gray, that's one of the best starts, period. You will not see starts better than that. You might see something luckier than that where somebody ends up with a no-hitter out of it. But you're just not going to find complete games less than 90 pitches with 11 strikeouts. Like, just good luck. Those don't exist. Maddox used to do the 90 pitch complete game. Maddox wasn't striking out 11. He was doing that. So that was about as good as you're going to get from Sonny. And then obviously, there's still some issues in the rotation we can talk about, but they're overcoming them. You're scoring runs at the moment. You did a good job against the Cubs, even though it's always frustrating to win the first 2 and then lose 2. If it's the other way around, you feel good, right? You lose the first 2 and you bounce back. You're like, all right, cool, we bounce back. But it's been a really great stretch. And, look, there are things that they still need to keep working on, but you're in it 4 weeks until the trade deadline. You're in it.
You are. And Bernie, they had the finish to the weekend, the best comeback of the year on Saturday. And then on Sunday, not only does Matthew Liberatore navigate his way through the lineup, dealing with some traffic, but his old buddy Nolan Gorman with some thunder right away, a 3-run bomb. I mean, that was as thorough a whipping as the Cardinals have put on somebody in those 3 games, including, I would say, the 9-6 win on Saturday where they came roaring back.
Well, when Miles Michaelis wasn't pitching, okay, the Cardinals outscored the Guardians 21-0. Michaelis allowed 6 runs in 1 inning, which means the Cardinals pitching staff, 9 different pitchers, 2 starters, 7 relievers, shut out the Guardians for 26 of the 27 innings in the series. Cardinals averaged 7 runs a game, hit 6 doubles, 6 home runs. Basically, I say this without hesitation, their most dominant performance in a series this season. You just can't be any more dominant than that. So, and let me throw something else in there, because we keep, every time the Cardinals hit a little rut, we're like, oh, well, are they falling apart? Oh my gosh, what's up? Can we just go ahead and just say it without equivocating? This is a really good baseball team.
Mm-hmm.
You know why I say this? Since April the 8th, okay, and that's not exactly like 10 days ago, okay? April the 8th. The season started March the 27th, right? The Cardinals have the 3rd best record in the National League behind the Dodgers and the Cubs. But every time, and listen, by the way, I do this too.
Mm-hmm.
Every time they have a losing streak or every time they lose a series they should win, it's kind of like, well, it looks like maybe reality's hitting. No, they always bounce back. They always come back. If they lose, they don't play well. Just wait on them. They'll catch up. They'll come back to life. It's a really admirable team.
Yeah, Wheels, they get shut out twice, and they say, all right, you like that? We'll hand out 2 shutouts ourselves. I mean, that's some big-time stuff right there from the Cardinals.
Yeah. I think what's fascinating now, too, is, because Ollie has talked about how the runway changes. And again, I know we all hate it, but I struggle to find another word to throw in there to explain it. But he's explained how it changes, right? As the season's going along, it's probably going to mean less for a healthy Jordan Walker until he gets going and more for a Nolan Gorman who has figured it out. So we're going to see this. Now, let me ask you guys this. Is this time to start thinking strategically about moves and decisions and lineups and pitching setups because in a way to maximize wins now that you're in it this late in the season? As an example, and I mentioned this via text. I didn't let you, Barney, I didn't text you about it, but okay. I texted Tom about it. Just the idea that, and this is not a pound the table thing. This is just like, let's float ideas because Michaelis and Palante are really having a hard time 3rd time through the order. Michaelis is a 6.08 3rd time through the order. Palante is a 9 ERA 3rd time through the order. Does it make sense to start with an opener with those guys occasionally, to only have them face the top of the order twice instead of 3 times and still maybe get 5 or 6 innings by doing that? And again, I'm just bringing up a thought that I see Tampa pull off. I see the Dodgers do it. I see the Tigers do it. I see a lot of teams that are smart saying, this starter we have is imperfect, but we don't want to take him out of the rotation because we don't necessarily have someone to do that, and we don't have much depth, at least in the Cardinals' case, don't have much depth. These are the kind of ideas that could get interesting in the second half if you're like, we got to find a way to maximize the performance of what we have.
Yeah, I would agree with that, but I also don't know if they'll do that. We can make we can make 20,000 suggestions. That doesn't mean Ollie Marmol is going to do that. I mean, Ollie Marmol's doing a really good job of running the team as is. And, Bob Nightingale wrote Sunday that if the vote were held today, Ollie Marmol would be the runaway manager of the year in the vote in the National League. And I agree with that. So it's hard to explain. I just wish. So you look at Michaelis, and unfortunately we're back to talking about Michaelis again. His last 6 starts, he's got a 6.90 ERA. Mm-hmm. So I don't know that you need to go with openers and all this stuff. I think you just maybe put a better starter in there. But that's also unrealistic because they ain't going to do it. But Wheels, and by the way, man, I sound like I'm shooting down what you're saying. I'm not at all.
No, not at all.
I'm just saying, there's something that it's always like, well, what would we do? Is this an idea? Yeah, that sounds like a good idea. Are they going to do it? Probably not.
No.
Right?
Yeah, I mean, you remember how quickly I got shot down by both Ollie and Mo when I said, I wonder when you might consider taking Michaelis, or I forget how I worded it. I'm wondering how long you can keep Michaelis in the rotation. Not suggesting they remove him, just waiting for that answer. And boy, they both barked back, not in a harsh way, but just in a firm way, basically saying they support their guy. But I agree with you, Bernie. It does come down to depth at this point. And, if I were to mention something about Fetty, Kevin, as well as I do, they're going to be like, hello, was it not long ago that he went the distance in a game? So, they believe that he still has the durability and the stuff. But what we saw the other day from Fetty just isn't going to cut it. I mean, it's just not. So,
yeah, I mean, overall, this rotation, see, I go by fielding independent ERA because that's the one that reflects the style of pitching that they have for the most part.
Right.
And, and this, the Cardinals, they got the third best starting pitching fielding independent ERA in the National League. They're also fourth in quality starts, and they have they're way up there in innings. So yeah, you're going to have a guy or two that, frankly, we get tired of watching pitch. But the overall rotation has been, in my opinion, much better than they're getting credit for. I think they're very underrated as a group. But yeah, there's a couple people that get on my nerves, and Wheels, you mentioned them. You mentioned them. But even Palante, his numbers his last 3 starts or so have been good. But to your point, I know what you're saying. It's a little tough once you push him through the first two turns in the lineup.
Yeah, I think, and again, that's all we're talking about is, again, maybe the move is just quicker trigger with those guys and say you're not facing the third time through. I mean, like, you could go that route too. So there's more than one way around it. And this is, by the way, again, this is about, like, when a team is getting into contention, the conversations shift to how can you maximize your team's output? How can you maximize? So, like, looking at the second half as we go forward, maybe that means that it does make sense to carry Sajasi as a bench guy for the second half if you're trying to maximize output. Now, maybe that's not going to be the goal, but he has had one half of a season where he's had full-time at-bats at Memphis for the most part. So just looking ahead, there's clearly a chance to make the playoffs. They clearly have that opportunity in front of them. So there are ways to improve, right? The ways to improve are from the outside, adding and bringing in new talent, calling up minor league players. That doesn't seem, other than McGreevy, that doesn't seem like it's a significant answer for some of the other possible questions. And then you have, the ability to adapt internally and try some different things and be a little bit more aggressive in other areas. But I know that everything you're aggressive with in the rotation, guys, bleeds over to adding to the work for the bullpen. And, we don't want to burn out a bullpen because then you're in trouble.
Let me just throw this in too. Your idea of using the opener has got value, has got merit, I should say. But there's another way to look at it. One thing the Cardinals have to do, and I think they're doing, that would enable them to bring in a reliever earlier than normal, right? Mm-hmm. Riley O'Brien and Matt Swanson look really good.
Yeah.
And, let's not sleep on that. I mean, Riley O'Brien has exceeded what I thought they'd get out of him. And Matt Swanson, I think, has been impressive really since he came to the big leagues. And he got blown up the first time or whatever, but whatever. He's a kid, he's just into the major leagues. Mm-hmm. So they're able to stretch that bullpen out for longer periods of times in certain games. So that's one way to do it too. Front load one of those guys into the game before Michaelis or Palante get to the third time through.
100%. And remember, it is June 30th. There's still a long way to go. I mean, Kyle Leahy's made more appearances than Maton has, believe it or not. So, you got to be able to go to these. O'Brien, the ball is exploding out of his hand. I would take Swanson over almost anybody in that bullpen right now outside of Maton and Helsley.
He's doing great. I mean, he's throwing strikes. The walk's probably a little higher than you want, but the fastball's really effective. And, when you're looking at guys that are, what have we talked about? Not having a lot of velo, not having a lot of guys. I know that Swanson and O'Brien aren't strikeout guys, but when you throw 98, your fastball carries some problems. Yeah, right?
No doubt about it.
You're creating problems for hitters.
Pretty fun right now with Bernie Miklasz, Kevin Wheeler. I'm Tom Ackerman. The Gashouse Gang is sponsored by Saliga Heating and Cooling, SaligaHeatingandCooling.com, and by Anderson Hospital. We'll take a quick break. We will come back with more with Bernie Miklasz, including a visit with John Rooney on the show after the 12:30 weather report. And we're going to catch up with the Pittsburgh side of things as well. Cardinals and Pirates, 5:40 first pitch this evening. Don't go anywhere. The Gashouse Gang will be right back.
When you retire, the paycheck from your job will likely stop. But here's what won't stop: bills, taxes, and medical issues. Sure, there's Social Security, but that may not be enough. Steve All and his team at the All Financial Group can show you potential ways to develop a new stream of income that can last as long as you live. Kind of like having your own personal pension. You won't have to worry about whether the market is up or down or who's sitting in the White House. You can spend your time instead on the things that matter, like family, friends, and doing the things you never had time to do before. Call Steve All today at 636-230-8824. That's 636-230-8824 and schedule a custom income review at no charge. Or find us online at yourmoneymattersstl.com. Investment advisory products and services made available through Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC, IPW, a registered investment advisor. Neither the firm nor its agents or representatives may give tax or legal advice.
If you're drowning in IRS debt and can't afford to pay, then you need to take advantage of special IRS tax programs that are available and free yourself from IRS collection efforts once and for all. Due to the financial hardship consumers are facing throughout the country, the Internal Revenue Service has made it easier to settle delinquent tax problems. An open phone line has been established by Community Tax for consumers to call and see if they qualify. Take down this number or store it in your cell phone, but call the Community Tax Helpline at 800-536-9607. If you owe back taxes to the IRS and cannot afford to pay them back, or even if you have years of unfiled tax returns, there's no need to fear anymore. But you have to call the Community Tax Helpline today at 800-536-9607 for the help that you need. Don't take on the IRS alone. They can attack your wages, savings, pension, home, and even your Social Security check. Call 800-536-9607 for your free consultation and to see if you qualify. That's 800-536-9607.
Now, 90 and 60. A look back at the latest St. Louis City SC match. Presented by Woods Basement Systems, Inc.
Fossey gives to Barlow. Barlow tries again. Another cross of volley to the back post. And now it's straight across the facing goal and bounces in off of City. Won't say the one descendant in the sixth bouncing got redirected in front in the 66th minute. Now Houston coming again, leading 1-0. Andrade peels one back. It drifts through. Shot the spot. Oh, what a diving save by Roman Berkey. Your final, Houston Dynamo 1, St. Louis City 0.
Up next, City SC faces Real Salt Lake Saturday night. Kick at 8:30 on Y98.
Tripping over uneven concrete? Don't replace it, raise it with concrete leveling. Call the all things basement-y experts, Wood Basement Systems, for a free estimate at 618-249-5503 or learn more at woodsbasementsystems.com.
Named one of Newsweek's World's Best Hospitals for 2025, Anderson Hospital is your hospital for life, delivering exceptional, compassionate care to families across the Metro East. From emergency services to specialized treatments, our dedicated team supports your health at every stage. Experience world-class care close to home. Discover the difference at andersonhospital.org.
Wake up informed. Wake up empowered. Wake up to Total Information AM, your morning must.
Hi, this is Debbie Monterey. I'm Megan Lynch.
This is Tom Ackerman.
From local news to breaking headlines to weather, traffic, and the stories that matter most, we've got you covered before your first sip of coffee. Expert analysis, bright perspectives from the people you trust. Total Information AM, your day starts here. Mornings beginning at 5 on 104.1 FM, KMOX. The Chris and Amy Show, weekdays starting at 9 on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
We are back on the Gashouse Gang, sponsored by Saliga Heating and Cooling, SaligaHeatingandCooling.com, and by Anderson Hospital. With Bernie Miklasz, Kevin Wheeler, I'm Tom Ackerman. Our producers are Matt Pajeski and Frank Ladd. We got a whole team putting together the Gashouse Gang as the week goes along. Manager Ollie Marmol will be with us tomorrow. Voice of the Cardinals, John Rooney, coming up in about 10 minutes or so. J.J. Weatherholt has been selected for the Futures game. That was the big Cardinals news this morning. We'll see what that lineup looks like when they play at Pittsburgh at 5:40. Bernie, eventually we're going to see Weatherholt at this level. Not yet, but man, he is on the track, isn't he?
Yeah, and I'll be happy to hear the announcement he's going to Memphis. That'd be kind of fun.
I know. I've been waiting for that one.
So, this, I wanted to say this too, this Pirates series is really interesting, and I'll be brief here because I'm seeing some comments like, well, it's only the Pirates, The Pirates just swept the Mets and outscored them 30-4, and the Pirates have a 20-17 record since May the 20th. Okay, so as much as I believe in the Cardinals, I don't think the Cardinals are going to go into Pittsburgh and say, we got this, no problem. These guys are lousy. Actually, the Pirates are playing very well. So whether you want to call this a potential trap series, I don't think the Cardinals will fall into the trap. But let's not get too cocky out there in Redbird Nation. That's all I'm trying to say.
Hey, look, you're facing three good pitchers too.
Yeah.
You know, Haney's going tonight. He's a solid lefty. Then you got Skeens. And look, I know that he's 0-4 against the Cardinals in 5 starts, but he's got a 2.70 ERA. Right? Yeah. That's just the Pirates not scoring any runs for the most part.
Right.
And then obviously you got Keller against Sonny Gray. And Mitch Keller has been arguably the most unlucky pitcher in baseball this year, where his numbers are better than they look. And he's like, what's he, 2-10? He's got 10 losses with like a 3.9 ERA. That's ridiculous. So, yeah, I agree, Bernie. I don't think this is a walkover by any means.
You're going to have to earn the wins. That's it. That's all we're saying,
Yeah.
you know? So, and there's a lot of teams in baseball that, take lesser teams for granted. Believe it or not, I don't think the Cardinals are one of them. I really don't. I think the Cardinals beat up on the teams, generally speaking, that they should beat up on. It doesn't happen every time. But the Cardinals' record against bottom 7 teams in the majors is 12-3.
All right.
They take care of business.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying the Pirates are a little better than the last time we all saw them play the Cardinals. That's all I'm trying to say.
Absolutely. And you want to keep the hammer down on the road. How about them winning 6 road games consecutively? They're now 500 on the road after their brutal start on the road. And how about this? This is from my buddy Dan Hyatt. Brendan Donovan leads the National League in road batting average, 328 on the road. You know who's number 2 in the National League? Alec Burleson, 325. Prior to this year, the last time they had 2 players with 325 averages on the road or higher before July was 2008 with Albert Pujols and Skip Schumacher, if you recall, was pretty tough on the road. But it's really something, Kevin, what we've seen from those two, in particular Burleson, who's gotten full ABs with the opportunity of Walker being out and now Herrera. And now here comes Nolan Gorman. You talk about a guy taking advantage of an opportunity. Both Burley and Gorman, each with 6 home runs in June.
Yeah, and you guys flash back to April, and it was hard to find either one of them time, right? Because Walker was getting his opportunity, and Herrera came out of the gate so hot that it was limiting the opportunities for these two guys. And in June, those are basically your 2 best hitters. Throw in Wilson Contreras because he's been pretty hot, and he's been pretty hot since the 10th day of the season, but especially hot again. So, Bert, I think it's clear that those guys have obviously made changes and earned it. And interestingly, Gorman made those changes while not playing a lot, which argues that maybe Jordan Walker can do the same when he comes off the injured list, where if you're not playing every day, there's still ways to get better. Gorman did it.
Well, he had to rebuild his whole hitting approach, and the most valuable stuff he did was work in the cage and work in sessions with the batting coach, and they got him to just have a much better plate approach. In the last 27 games, that's a month basically. Nolan Gorman leads the Cardinals in slugging percentage, OPS, on base percentage. He's second in batting average, tied for first in home runs. He's got the second best walk rate. So does that sound like a guy that you're going to put on the bench for 2 or 3 days at a time? No. So I don't see, frankly, I don't see where Jordan Walker really fits when he comes back in terms of playing time.
Right.
I just don't see it.
Yeah, the runway's got a little air traffic going on.
Yeah.
And look, they did the right thing, I think, in playing it out with him, and he's got his opportunity. And it's not that the opportunity ends; it's just going to be different. Again, we saw it with Gorman. It doesn't mean that you have to go down to Memphis, and it doesn't mean that you got to play every single day when you're in that position. Right now, you're winning, and you're in a spot where putting your best lineup out there matters.
It does. It might, and we'll ask Ali Marmol about this tomorrow when he's on with us from 12 to 12:35, 12:40 or so. But he's been basically saying in so many words that there comes a time where it's kind of a sliding scale, where maybe the runway was up here, but now it's kind of more like that.
Yeah.
Winning tonight's games up here, the runway's down there. It's more and more in that direction because you have to do that. You just have to.
Bernie, I will direct people to your videos online on YouTube.
Right.
You're just you're so good at what you do, man. I liked recently. I'll just tease people the suggestion that they should be working Weatherholt in center field. They should. I do believe I saw that from Bernie.
I think Kevin Wheeler. I think a lot of us have kind of said that.
Wheels got in there.
I was probably making I was probably just hollering the loudest about it. That's all. Listen, I would like to see Weatherholt running around in the outfield a little bit. They could trade Arenado in the offseason. They could, in theory. But if not, then what are you going to do? I mean, you're going to be stacked up even more with your middle infielders. I won't even say middle infielders. I'm just saying second, shortstop, and third.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do.
It is going to get interesting. Bernie, tell us about the great people at Saliga Heating and Cooling.
It is my privilege and my pleasure. Saliga has been taking care of St. Louis families since 1927. The same family of Saligas, 4 generations. My guy, Dan Saliga, running it and owning it now. And this Daikin Comfort dealer, we know from calling them for help for the last 16, 17 years, they are on point. I cannot recommend them more enthusiastically than I am, because we have seen up close how honest they are, their knowledge, their professionalism, the fact that they have high standards because they want to uphold the family name and the reputation. And they also give you prompt service. So they're the best. They don't try to upsell you or hustle you. In our experience and the experience of some of our neighbors, Saliga will look for cheaper solutions to help you rather than try to twist your arm on something so they can make more money. So I also recommend their Priority Club, a maintenance plan that will save you money by extending the life of your equipment, also give you priority scheduling, and you'll just know with the regular maintenance that, your home is safe and ready to go for all seasons. So this Daikin Comfort dealer, you can find out more at SaligaHeatingandCooling.com, SaligaHeatingandCooling.com. Thank you.
Bernie, thank you. Great to have Bernie Miklas on the Gashouse Gang. We will have him tomorrow when we visit with Cardinals manager Oliver Marmol. Coming up next, it is the voice of the Cardinals, John Rooney, and then John Parado will give us a little preview of Pittsburgh. He's a Pittsburgh-based writer. We're going to have a good time with him as well. The Gashouse Gang rolls on during your lunch hour. Some baseball talk on KMOX.
Chris Ranji for Siteman Cancer Center, and you have to know that you are somebody's favorite person, and your health matters not just to you, but it matters to people who care about you. Getting screened early for any cancer, whether it's colon or breast cancer, prostate cancer, or lung cancer, it is important to do that. Siteman has set up a website called GetScreenedNow.com. And when you go to it, it's going to help you find a location nearer you. If you live a little farther out from St. Louis and don't want to make the trip into the city, you can get screened closer to home. GetScreenedNow.com, because for me, I'm over 45. It's time for that colonoscopy. 3rd leading cause of cancer-related deaths in both men and women. And GetScreenedNow.com will help you find a location that is good for you. Doing it early, really, really important. GetScreenedNow.com.
Hey, it's Debbie Monterey, and between now and the end of the summer, chances are that you or someone you know is in the market to buy or sell a home. And like me, you probably know a few realtors. Well, yeah, I know several as well, but when someone I know needs to sell their home, I always recommend Gloria Liu with Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. I've been telling you about Gloria for years now, and here's why you should call, because no matter what the market does, Gloria Liu will guarantee up front and in writing to sell your home at 100% of market value, or Gloria will pay you the difference.
St. Louis home sellers, if you're looking for certainty and the most money guaranteed for the sale of your home, call me, Gloria Liu. My name is My Promise, Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Call me directly at 314-325-6888 or visit me online at GloriaHasTheBuyers.com. That's GloriaHasTheBuyers.com.
Gloria and seller must agree on price and possession date.
Weather sponsored by the U.S. Air Force Band of Mid-America 4th of July concert. It's going to be a hot one on the 4th of July. High of 96. The humidity is going to go away tomorrow, according to AccuWeather meteorologist Heather Zaire, just for a day, though. It'll come back Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Tomorrow's high 88. Today, we're looking at a high of 92 with humidity and a chance of a thunderstorm this afternoon.
Celebrate Independence Day with a free concert by the U.S. Air Force Band of Mid-America. July 2nd, 7 p.m. at Logan University in Chesterfield, showcasing patriotic music and more. Get free tickets at afbandtix.org. That's afbandtix.org.
Create the ultimate raised bed garden with St. Louis Composting. Our premium compost and soil mixes are perfect for filling the raised beds you'll enjoy building, and even better for growing fresh, homegrown veggies. Imagine harvesting your own tomatoes, peppers, and cilantro for fresh salsa the whole family can enjoy. And with delivery right to your door, getting started has never been easier. Visit stlcompost.com to order a convenient delivery from your phone in seconds, or stop by one of our 9 locations in the St. Louis area. St. Louis Composting, growing gardens and making memories.
Today,
The Cards, the Pirates,
Cameron Total Access 445.
Cardinals Radio, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Now, the John Rooney Conversation on KMOX. Sponsored by Missouri Farm Bureau Insurance. We are Missouri Farm Bureau Insurance. And if you're a Missourian, we're for you.
With one out to go, the shutout bid today, and there's a fly ball that goes into left field, and it is caught by Fermin for a Redbird winner. The Cardinals have swept the Guardians, winning on Friday 5-0, yesterday 9-6, and today 7-0.
That's the voice of the Cardinals, John Rooney on KMOX with Kevin Wheeler. I'm Tom Ackerman. Great to visit with Bernie Miklasz the last couple of segments. Now we turn to John Rooney. After a dominant performance, John, how are you? What a weekend that was.
Yeah, it was a great weekend, and Sonny Gray set the tone by throwing a one-hit shutout. I mean, he was something, and he worked so well with Pedro Pajes. Even told Pajes before the game, hit a home run for me, and Pajes did. I mean, it turned out to be, other than the hit by Nolan Jones, a perfect night.
I know you've seen your share of dominant pitching performances, John, but there can't be many that have been better than that. To be under 90 pitches with 11 strikeouts for a complete game shutout is, well, it's historic. I mean, there's just almost been nobody ever that's done it that way in that kind of a shorter stint when it comes to maximizing pitch efficiency.
And so efficient. He didn't get very deep in counts at all, Kevin. And what I enjoyed about watching Sonny Gray pitch, it kind of reminded me of the Chris Carpenter performance in the 1-0 win the Cardinals had in the playoffs at Philadelphia. You don't win a 1-0 game in that park. Yeah, it's such a home run park in Philadelphia. A little more of a hitter's park for sure than the one in Cleveland. But Sonny Gray was extremely efficient. And I think the Cardinals happened to catch the Guardians at a stretch where they're just not hitting much and they're really pressing. And now I hope they get out of that as they go to Chicago to play the Cubs starting tomorrow night.
That's right. They're due. They had one inning. That's it. They were shut out the entire time except for that one eruption that they had on Saturday, John, and then the Cardinals came roaring back. I mean, do you feel, John, when you're watching games in your gut that the Cardinals are not out of this, even if they're down 4 or 5 runs?
Well, and you can't keep doing that all the time, Tom. You get down 4 or 5 runs 3 or 4 days in a row. And even in the 6-game losing streak, they had games where they were just a hit away from coming back and tying it or taking the lead. So, no, they believe that they can come back from about anything. They really do. And the whole mix of things. And they beat a left-handed starter yesterday, and they're 15-15 now against left-handed starters. But on the road, I think they've won most of those games against starters on the road. And didn't affect them much yesterday, especially Nolan Gorman, who tagged the 3-run homer off the left-handed pitcher.
It's been fascinating, hasn't it, John? The beginning of the year, we were all wondering, why can't they win on the road? Why is this so weird? Well, they've leveled off. They're back to a winning team on the road. And yeah, look, it's not a lot, but even the best teams tend to be closer to 500 on the road than they are when they're at home.
Well, the old saying is go 500 on the road and win the majority of your home games, and you're playing in October. And that's pretty true in most cases. But they dug such a hole on the road, especially going up to Boston and losing to the Red Sox. That was a dismal series. And then coming in to play Pittsburgh and didn't play very well against them. And looking at this Pittsburgh team, scoring 9-9, I think 12 runs yesterday against the New York Mets. I guess they caught the Mets at the right time after the Mets had overcome Philadelphia to get into first place. Well, they fell out of it pretty fast as Pittsburgh has changed its pitching up. And I see that Bednar is back. We hadn't seen him when we were here the first time. And they've added some young arms. And right now they feel like they can win. And they've had the change of managers since we were here last, or we last saw them. And Don Kelly, former Detroit Tiger, who was the bench coach, is now managing. And they seem to be on an upward movement at this moment. But this is a good division, guys. A division that most people looked at the beginning of the year. Oh, no, that's just the National League Central, the lowly Central. They'll get a team in, and that team will be gone in no time. I don't think that's true with what we've seen out of the Cubs, out of the Cardinals, the Brewers. The Reds have added some arms, and they have Terry Francona there. He's not there to paint. He's there to win games.
That's right. He came along for that very reason. And the Reds are a team to watch for sure. They came back and beat the Padres. You had the Rockies, of all people, beating the Brewers. And then the Astros look dynamite. They handle the Cubs. And here we are. Cardinals are 2.5 out, Brewers 2 out. And the Reds are trying to keep up with the group, but it is a 4-team race. John, as we embark on this series in Pittsburgh, I know we're thinking very much about the life and career of Dave Parker. The Cobra was just a tremendous personality and player. What are your remembrances, your recollections of Dave Parker?
Well, I got to see him play for Tony over in Oakland. He played for Tony La Russa, and watching him come out to the on-deck circle, they put a sledgehammer out there for him to swing. That's true. He'd swing, he'd swing a sledgehammer and then pick up the bat that had to feel like a toothpick by the time he got to the batter's box. But such power, a great arm, and a guy who could move very well for a big man, and a guy that everybody liked. They loved him, and a Hall of Famer, and that's a loss for the Pirates and a loss for baseball because he was terrific.
He was one of the guys that I grew up on. Like when I was born in 71, so getting to be a kid loving baseball, 76, 77, 78. Like just Dave Parker rang so big, and even though I didn't grow up anywhere near where he played, I wasn't in Pittsburgh, I wasn't in Cincinnati later or Oakland. He was always a guy, though, that got the attention of all of us kids. Maybe it's the big throw in the All-Star game that was on all the highlight reels. Probably the batting titles didn't hurt. But he just did everything. He was one of those guys that was everything. And at 6'5", 240, that's just such an impressive person.
Well, that's right. I mean, an imposing figure in the batter's box, but a major league bat, a big-time bat that could hit for average and then do damage with doubles and home runs and drive-in runs. And that's a guy that if you had a chance to see them take batting practice, you'd stop and take a look.
That's right. Absolutely. I can tell you just from my personal experience, and I was born in 75. So you do have, as you mentioned, some ties older than me, but I did get to watch Dave Parker play, and I just loved him. And so when he became the hitting coach for the Cardinals in 98, which was a crazy year, I was a young reporter in that clubhouse, and it was really something to see. Wow, it's Dave Parker. I mean, it's trying to get over that. John, looking at Pittsburgh as a team that's on the rise, I've always wondered, we talk about the thin crowds here in St. Louis. Gosh, if they could ever get that place going. I mean, it is one of the most beautiful ballparks and settings, even though you get the full view up there, don't you, up in that booth? That's about the highest booth there is.
No, the highest booth is Washington.
Okay.
We're nine stories up there, but in both places, the birds are afraid of us. Where we are.
Birds are looking up at you guys, huh?
They are. Like, hey, who are those people? They should be building nests up there or something. But it's a great view of the city, sometimes a better view of the city than the ball game. But we're used to it after all these years, coming into Pittsburgh, being in the division, and it doesn't bother me at all. I have to take a look at the monitor sometimes when the ball gets out toward the bullpen out there. It's so far away in center field. That's the farthest point away from home plate. But other than that, a beautiful park, but a team that has to get the confidence back of their fans. even though their fans don't come out in big numbers to the ballpark, their radio TV ratings have been very good over the years here. The same way down in Miami for the Marlins. Their radio and TV numbers have been really good, even though fans don't show up there. And lo and behold, both teams are playing really well right now, Miami and Pittsburgh. We're either catching the Pirates at a good time, coming off an emotional series with the Mets, or at a bad time where they look to keep it going. And I tend to be somewhere in the middle of that, because every time we've come into Pittsburgh, no matter how good or bad the Pirates have been over the years, they give the Cardinals their best effort.
That they do. They were able to take 2 out of 3 the last time the Cardinals were there. Cardinals swept them here, but it's a different Pirates team and, quite frankly, a different Cardinals team this time around here on June 30th as we start this series. John, we appreciate it. We always love having you on the Gashouse Gang. Have a great rest of your day. We'll be listening.
Will do. Just about ready to head to the park now.
All right.
Awesome.
Say hi to everybody
Okay.
for us. There's the voice of the Cardinals, John Rooney, with us with Kevin Wheeler. I'm Tom Ackerman. When we come back, John Parado, he covers the Pirates and Pittsburgh sports, and we'll lay out this series for us, and we'll also look back at the life of Dave Parker. And we'll continue to answer your questions. We've been talking so much, we haven't gotten into a lot of good comments and questions coming in. Don't worry. They're going to pop up on that screen. We're on YouTube, by the way, and X.
Yeah.
And Facebook.
Yeah.
And wherever you get your podcasts. It's the Gashouse Gang, back after this.
We are Missouri Farm Bureau Insurance, and we're here for all of life's wins. Like when you get a new car, or new boat, or new driver, or when your son moves out, but your mom moves in, or you find out you're expecting again, or when one rental property turns into 2, then 20, or you realize they're all in Tornado Alley. Life is full of life events, so call your Missouri Farm Bureau Insurance agent or visit mofbinsurance.com to find an agent near you, and we'll make sure you have the right coverage for each of life's wins.
We are Missouri Farm Bureau Insurance, and we're for the people of Missouri, in good times and in bad. We're from Missouri families and Missouri communities. We're for giving back to those communities and lifting people up. And when Missouri weather rips through our state, we're for helping put back the pieces. We're for brighter days and new tomorrows. We are Missouri Farm Bureau Insurance. And if you live in Missouri, we're for you.
This is a test of the emergency alert system. This is only a test. This has been a test of the emergency alert system. This was only a test.
When we started Neoviten back in 2009, we wanted to create a multivitamin that we would take ourselves. That's why we use quality ingredients in our Neoviten Original Formula multivitamin. With over 20 vitamins and minerals, along with our physician-formulated proprietary blend, you can be sure you are getting the highest quality daily nutritional support. Give Neoviten Original Formula multivitamin a try for yourself. Find it at your local Schnucks, Deerbergs, and online at neoviten.com.
2 legendary bands, 1 epic night, Collective Soul, and Live are bringing the rock to St. Louis. Catch their summer unity tour at Hollywood Casino Amphitheater July 17th with special guest Graylin James Rue. Don't miss your chance to hear such hits as Shine, December, I Alone, and All Over You. Collective Soul and Live. Tickets can be found at Ticketmaster.com. For more info, KMOX.com/events.
Hey guys, Glover here with my friend Mark Cantor at Cantor Injury Law. So as you know, I'm a lawyer, so I take this very seriously. Mark is a great attorney. He has a great team. He is from St. Louis. He is local. Call 314-628-9999 or visit CantorInjuryLaw.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be solely based on advertisements.
Attention. Have you racked up $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is notifying consumers about significant debt relief options currently being made available to help those with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of credit card debt for those who qualify. You don't need to declare bankruptcy or take out a consolidation loan, and you may only have to pay back a fraction of what you owe, even if you have bad credit. National Debt Relief has already reduced the credit card debt for more than 550,000 consumers. So don't wait. If you owe $10, $20, or even $100,000 in credit card debt, you can now take advantage of this financial debt relief as the cost of living continues to skyrocket. To check what debt reduction you may qualify for, call 800-207-4545. That's 800-207-4545. Once again, that's 800-207-4545.
Hey, St. Louis, this is Ben Barnett, board-certified master arborist and owner at Timberline Professional Tree Care. As a local small business owner for the past 24 years, I always do my best to shop local and support our community. Recently, 2 of the largest tree contractors in the region have sold to out-of-town investment groups. This means that the new owners of these companies are not invested in quality, customer satisfaction, or safety, except for how it affects their bottom line. Timberline Professional Tree Care was founded in 2001 and is focused solely on giving you, the customer, the safest, highest quality product while providing the best customer service before, during, and after the job. I've poured my heart and soul into tree care for the past 24 years, and we aren't going anywhere. When it comes time to take care of your trees, I ask that you shop local and call me, Ben Barnett, at Timberline Professional Tree Care, 636-479-7475, or online at stltreecare.com.
Now back to the Gashouse Gang, sponsored by Saliga Heating and Cooling and by Anderson Hospital on 104.1 FM KMOX.
Matthew Johnson texts in, if we're in contention before the deadline, who should we trade and try to get beforehand? And should we just trade Walker to get someone? That's a no.
Well, let's put it this way. It's got to be someone you're not expecting to be in the conversation for. That can't be just a deal.
But the $1 million question that everybody's asking right now, who are they going to trade? There's still some time to go here. I mean, you got a month to try to figure out where you're going to be in the standings. Starting tonight against the Pirates. I like this Twitter post, I still call it Twitter, a lot, that Kevin just alerted me to. It says, I grew up sitting on my porch on summer nights, pulling in games from all over the country. KMOX always came through loud and clear in Ohioville, PA. Never would I have dreamed I'd be a recurring guest on the station's talk shows one day. That comes from John Parado, who is a Pittsburgh-based freelance writer contributing to Pittsburgh Baseball Now, Forbes, Newsweek, AP, Baseball Digest. John joins us on KMOX. It's great to have you on the Gashouse Gang, John.
Well, it's great to be with you guys. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. What's happening in Pittsburgh? The Cardinals roll in against a team that just slaughtered the Mets. What in the world happened over the weekend?
Yeah, it kind of came out of nowhere. I know the Mets have certainly been struggling the last 2 or 3 weeks, but this is a Pirate team that was averaging 3.3 runs a game, worse than the major leagues before the weekend. And they outscored the Mets 30-4 over 3 games. I don't know if this is just a 3-game blip in a 162-game schedule, or the sign that maybe they're going to start turning things around a little bit. But they certainly had a weekend to remember against a team that's outspending them by 4 times.
John, we're going to see 3 of the best that they have to offer in the rotation in this series with Haney, Skeens, and Keller over these next few days. Seems like they're all, obviously Skeens is dominant, but like Keller is better than his record would indicate. Haney has really been a nice pickup for them. It just always feels like the Pirates are a couple of bats away from being the team that you could be like, man, you got to watch out for those guys.
And they really are. They do have the starting pitching, and their bullpen's pretty good too. And there's no doubt in my mind, if they had a couple of more legitimate big league hitters in their lineup, they're a playoff team, but they don't have those hitters. And, Ben Cherington, in 6 years as a GM, has never been able to trade for those kind of hitters successfully. They haven't drafted those kind of hitters successfully. And thus, every year, their offense is among the worst in baseball. And it's a shame they're wasting all this pitching, because this pitching staff is about as good as they've had. I'd say the best they've had since they had that run of 3 playoff appearances from 13 to 15.
We will see Paul Skeens on Tuesday, tomorrow's game against Andre Palante. There's another head scratcher. Why in the world are the Cardinals so successful against this guy?
Well, some of it has to do with that offense.
I was going to say if they score 2 runs, they'll beat him.
Yeah, that's right.
In all seriousness, and I can't give away who it is, but I had a Cardinal hitter tell me in April when the Pirates were here, the Cardinals were here in Pittsburgh, and they scored 5 runs off Skeens, which is still it's the most runs he's ever given up in a start. He gave up it's the only time he's given up 5 runs. And one of the Cardinals hitters told me that they have something on Skeens, but he wouldn't tell me what, and he wouldn't let me write it. So, but I will say, you're right. They have had success against him, and apparently they've picked up on something that no other team in the big leagues has been able to figure out in about a year and a half now that he's been up in the big leagues.
I mean, he is such a unicorn, John. You just like a once in every 20, 25 year type starting pitcher. The guy that literally has it all, and for whatever reason seems to add a new pitch every offseason, even though he doesn't need it.
Yeah, he really does. I think he has a 6-pitch mix now, and I think his ultimate goal is to get 10 pitches. Yeah. I think he gets bored, to be honest. I think he thinks, well, I dominate so much with the pitches I have. Let's see if I add another one, what will happen. And he's really a really special pitcher, and the guy really takes his craft seriously. He's a very mature 23-year-old, and I really impressed. He's the guy the Pirates could build around if they ever would try to build something.
John, is this in your observation? I know you've covered the team for a long time, and I know Pittsburgh fans are fed up with ownership. They clearly have not put in the effort to, as we talked about now, to go get a couple of bats while you have this great pitching staff. But they've also had a lot of position player development issues where guys come up like Ke'Bryan Hayes with great reputations, or Henry Davis is a number 1 overall pick. O'Neal Cruz is obviously a super gifted kid, but still riding that roller coaster up and down. Is there something in the organization that they're not doing? Do they not spend on training individual players, or is this just kind of the randomness that happens when you're not running on all cylinders most years?
Well, I don't want to sound like the old man yelling to get off my lawn, but I think a lot of the Pirates' problem in the minor leagues, and especially talking to scouts and personnel type people from other teams, and just what I've been able to observe and hear, is they rely too much on analytics and teaching their minor league players. And I realize all teams use it now, and I'm not anti-analytics. But you look at most of their hitting coaches in the minor leagues really have no professional background. They were all college players, or they all worked at Driveline or one of those, baseball skills factories, as I like to call them. And I just think that they're not taught how to hit. And the bottom line is, you can measure this and you can measure that. You can do this and that, but eventually you've got to step up the plate and just hit the ball. And it seems like that's not a priority with the Pirates. It's just they want to try to outthink and outsmart everybody instead of out-talent people.
And finally, John, this is John Parado, who's been covering Pittsburgh sports and the Pirates for years. You wrote on PittsburghBaseballNow.com that Dave Parker was on the ballot for the Hall of Fame for each of the first 14 years you were eligible to vote. You voted for Parker 14 times. I would say that the most heartbreaking thing of all, John, is the fact that he passed away just before his induction.
Well, that's the first thing I thought of Saturday when the news broke that he had passed away. And I know a lot of other fans here in Pittsburgh, a lot of people in the Pirate organization around baseball, that was their first thought too. And it's really sad. He waited over 20 years, almost, really 30 years since he retired. Waited and waited and waited. And even though he said it didn't really matter to him, I know he wasn't telling the truth. I know he wanted to get in badly. But it is sad that he won't be there. I'm glad that he's finally in. I'm disappointed it took this long. And I'm really heartbroken as somebody who grew up on my porch listening to Pirate games too, besides Cardinal games, that he's not going to be there in Cooperstown next month. It's really sad.
Thank you for the time. Really appreciate catching up with you, and say hi to our guys. And we love having you on the show. We'll do it again.
Sounds good. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
John Parado, that column on PittsburghBaseballNow.com is very good. It
Yeah.
says it will be bittersweet in Cooperstown without the Cobra.
Just a crime that it took as long as it did. Because, if he retired now, he'd be in 5 years. Because we recognize the all-around game better now than we did then. Back then, it was all about counting stats.
There was a point in that era, the late 70s, where you could say, and you were correct, that he was the best player in the game.
Yeah.
There was a period of time where Dave Parker was the best. We are going to welcome in the manager, Ollie Marmol, tomorrow. Cardinals play at 5:40, pregame at 4:45 today.
Hi, this is Charlie Brennan. When you go to the Audiology Center, you'll see a doctor of